Hello and welcome to the Thoughts on Wrestling podcast. This is episode number 3, if I can still do maths. Today's episode is on NXT Takeover Dallas. As always, I'm Rob and I'm joined by Daniel. Daniel, how are you doing? We are live from Dallas, Texas this time, doing it face to face. How are you feeling?
I'm not going to lie, I'm a bit rough this morning.
Why is that, Daniel? Did you have several beverages last night?
Yes.
Several beverages were
turned
had.
into many, and yeah, now I feel like crap.
Well, we were both there at the Takeover event live, and we had a great time. Slightly annoyed by the fact that I could only buy 2 drinks at a time, considering there were 3 of us, so that made it a bit of a pain. But the beer was flowing. We went out for some drinks and some food afterwards. The beer continued to flow. Good times all round. But we're not here to talk about our social life after the NXT event. We're here to talk about the NXT event itself. A couple of things I want to say before we rock and roll. Just minor nitpicking, and I want to stress minor, because overall, awesome event. That is my general feeling. However, the travel packages did lead to a slightly mixed crowd at times. At the start, I'd say. Everyone got into it by the end. But at the start, because you've got the travel packages, you've got loads of different people. I don't want to say the non-NXT diehards weren't there, as it were, but it's just lots of different people. For example, we had a father and son in front of us. The son was, 9 years old? Something like that?
Yeah, around
He slept through the entire thing. So that's a seat that could have gone to some crazy NXT fan. There's also quite a few empty seats from people who just didn't show up. Who doesn't show up for NXT TakeOver? They best have a decent reason.
Drunks.
Is that a decent reason? No, it's not. I've decided it's not a decent reason. But yeah, so there's an odd crowd to start. Mainly, I will admit, before the NXT actual pay-per-view started, during the dark matches. Like I say, by the end of it, everyone was involved. Whose phone was that? Unbelievable.
Oh my.
Trying to do a live podcast over here. Outrageous.
No respect for the work.
No respect at all. Let's crack on. The first match. American Alpha, Jordan and Gable, taking on The Revival, Dash and Dawson. But I am a big fan of both of these teams.
But one question is, which one's Dash and which one's Dawson?
That phone's just going to keep going off, isn't it? That's outrageous. That is.
Excuse me, love, please. We're trying to film.
We do have a live studio audience today. She's currently lying in bed, ignoring us completely, watching videos, completely unaware that her phone's going off next to her.
So we'll try this tape, but
please don't throw my tape. I need that for my hand that you busted open.
No, you busted that open. Don't put the blame on me.
Anyway, back to the wrestling. American Alpha versus The Revival. Brilliant match to start with. I honestly couldn't have they couldn't have picked a better opener. This was fantastic. The crowd are into both teams. Obviously they're going to boo The Revival. They're the heels. I love the Revival. They are such dirty heels. They're just constantly trying to cheat. They're not doing anything too bad. They're just trying to get the sneaky upper hand. And I think they work really well. They've been putting on great matches.
They are the modern day version of the Brainbusters.
Absolutely. They've been putting on great matches. They've done some excellent stuff. Renzo and Cass did some excellent stuff last night. It was just fun to watch. Constantly saving each other from trouble. Constantly trying to just work behind the referee's back. And of course the crowd they are still so into Jason Jordan and Chad Gable.
Mainly the English. Or the Brits.
Mainly the English, yeah. We love chanting about those guys. And I think they love us chanting about them too. Because whenever a chant got going, they noticed it. What are your thoughts on the match, Dan?
Yeah, I agreed. I mean, perfect way to start off.
Absolutely.
Takeover, aka the real WrestleMania. Yeah, both teams just work so well together. And yeah, and the right people won. The right match. Well, apart from one spot, which we'll get to in a sec. But
The Revival have been great champions, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Probably
not better than Blake and Murphy though. We can't ever take that away.
I might have to disagree with you on that one, but I know how big a fan you are of Banff.
Don't.
So I'll let you have that one for now. But they've been fantastic. I've loved them. It was probably time for them to move over. American Alpha are a great team to have them. honestly, they are so popular. I'm really looking forward to the day. Well, it might not happen, of course, because Enzo and Cass might be moving up. That's the heavily rumour. So they might just miss, for a couple of years at least, American Alpha versus Enzo and Cass. But when that does happen, hopefully they're still hot as hell. And as we all know, that you can't teach that. Perfect match, I'd say. Apart from, like you alluded to, there's one botch, which got a huge Botchamania chant.
And a you fucked up chant.
And a you fucked up chant. Which, in fairness, they did. They did mess up. They were going for a powerbomb, like crossbody slam kind of combo. They got the timing wrong. Chad Gable went down early. He didn't even receive a powerbomb, let alone the actual full move. Luckily, the spot was saved by the fact that they hadn't actually done a tag. Dash Dawson hadn't tagged. You know, the ref just went, "Oh, well, you haven't tagged," and it kind of just covered the fact that there was semi-covered the fact that a big move didn't go off. I'll tell you what, I was thinking earlier. Dash and Dawson didn't go for the Shatter Machine.
That's what I thought they were going to do.
At all. I did initially when they started setting out for a corner spot. They didn't go for the Shatter Machine at all last night. And I really like the fact that they didn't, because I'm a big fan of protecting finishers. I wouldn't have hated to see it, but I definitely prefer to see a new champions crowned without them kicking out of the finisher.
Well, what if they did the Gable and Jordan saved him?
That would be fine.
Yeah,
that'd be fine. If it was a straight kick out though, I'd be like, really. NXT does try to protect their finishers slightly more than the main roster, and I like that. I'm sick of everyone kicking out of everyone's moves 800 times a match. But yeah, they protected the Shatter Machine, which is basically a amazingly improved code breaker. If for some reason you haven't seen it and you're listening to this podcast, anything else to say on that match, buddy?
No, perfect. Like I said, perfect way to start the...
Fantastic start.
Yep.
Excellent match. One mistake, but you can forgive it. On to Austin Aries versus Aaron Corbin.
Good old Isaac Corbin.
Now, from where I was sitting, the B of Baron on his Titantron was blocked by another screen. You could see them. You've got the two ones just in front. So I was cheering on Aaron Corbin throughout the entire match instead of Baron Corbin. I was slightly confused about who was who. We've just had a match, obviously. Tag titles. Two of my favourites. Two favourite tag teams. And now, one of your favourites. One of the few men honest enough to admit that he likes Baron Corbin.
Oh, no, I'm not one of the few. No, there was a lot of people there last night who were finally converted to the Baron Corbin bandwagon.
I must have zoned out because you look like you were.
There was a chant.
You look like you were a lone wolf.
No, not anymore now. The wolf pack has assembled.
So it was another good match. It did struggle, in my opinion, to follow the red hot tag team opener. It was very much, if you look at the card, the piss break match, which is bizarre to say considering the talent involved, especially from Austin Aries. If they'd have left in the Apollo Crews Elias Sampson match, which was filmed as a dark match, potentially for TV, I think that would have been the match. And I personally, I would have booked it so that Apollo just comes out after the Nakamura match. Elias, he can do it. The promo that he still did. He got a lot of heat for it. Well, he didn't even do the promo. He just got a lot of heat in general. He couldn't get his words out because we were booing too loud. But him coming out and doing that, and then a quick kind of squash-like match after the Nakamura match could have just reset the crowd. But I am getting ahead of myself. The Austin Aries, Baron Corbin, good match. It was a story of Austin Aries being smarter than Baron Corbin, but Baron Corbin basically being able to beat Austin Aries up, which is, classic big guy, little guy storytelling. I loved the way Austin Aries got out of the end of days. He kind of just flipped, just kept on going when he got swung into it. And then he grabbed the victory. Again, he didn't humiliate Baron Corbin. He kind of survived Baron Corbin. It is a good way. It keeps both men over. Austin Aries gets his first win. He looks good. He can hang. And Baron Corbin doesn't get damaged in the process of putting someone over, which is good for both gentlemen. Anything you'd like to add, Dan?
No, that's it. Yeah, I mean, weird that the piss break was the second match in. Like I said,
Yes.
I would, if this was the case, I would have had it after saying Nakamura because the women's match suffered, but we can talk about that when we get there.
Yeah, the pacing of the pay-per-view was a little off, considering the main event in some ways was the third match, and then there were 2 matches that had to follow. So to put this match on before Nakamura instead of afterwards was a bit bizarre. But then again, if you'd had Nakamura as a second match, you've just basically got even longer time to survive.
Or
People
to put the women's as the second match, maybe. I mean, I know they're trying.
Yeah, maybe.
They're trying to get the women's division over, but it wouldn't hurt them one bit because obviously anything after Nakamura and Zayn was never going to top anything.
Very true. Very true. No, good match. So 2 matches in, 2 good matches. But let's move on to the main event. The actual main event, not
of this entire weekend, just to let you know.
Yeah, you're probably right on that one. So the third match in, Nakamura, Sami Zayn, definitely match of the night.
It's match of the year so far.
It was sensational. Dan, I know you're a huge Nakamura fan. I'm going to let you take the lead. Just, how great was this match?
Well, here's the thing, people. Nakamura needs the world champion now. And I mean, both NXT and WWE. This man is just...
You want him pushed to the moon?
Yeah, I want him to have all the belts. Even the women's belt. This man has the charisma over anyone. I don't give a damn who you say.
He does have a lot.
This man is the most charismatic person you're going to ever see in professional wrestling.
Do you think he's more charismatic than The Rock?
Absolutely. Okay.
That is high praise.
Okay, let me tell you that. In Rock 1999, I don't know. I have to look into that. But now, I don't like The Rock now. Well, okay, I say I don't like The Rock now. I don't like his way he does his promos these days.
They're a little bit more formulaic than they used to be. But that's in vain with WWE in general, to be fair.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome match. Both guys hitting hard. Just spot after spot of just... The crowd loved everything. They ate up every little move, every exchange, every bit of, every standoff. Just truly amazing match. No doubt about it.
I'm still buzzing from it, hours after it. And it's, how long was it? About 12 hours, maybe 12 hours ago, less than that.
Well, the phone I'm currently using is English time, so it thinks it's 20 to 7 in the evening. However, American time.
Well, basically last night, I'm still buzzing from it.
Well, we just rewatched it as well.
But even before that, when I went to Access today, and I was just always thinking about was saying Nakamura, and just this is the first probably match in a long time that I've ever felt like, even before going into the match, I was so hyped for it, and after I was like, I just saw probably one of the best matches, not greatest matches, but one of the best matches.
It was very fun to watch.
The crowd helped, I would definitely say as well.
Oh, absolutely. If you'd have put that on if a SmackDown crowd, for example, had seen that match, it would have died. But put on a decent match in front of the right fans, and it improves everything. Crowds make matches.
Yes.
That's a well-known fact at this point, obviously. But obviously the product has to be there for the fans to enjoy in the first place, and they delivered. If you haven't watched it, go and watch it, because you will absolutely not regret it.
And then watch it again and again, because it just...
It's just amazing. Nakamura to get that ovation straight off the bat. And then he showed exactly why he got it, because that man is a very talented man. Obviously, Nakamura gets the victory, as you'd expect. Sami Zayn is moving over to the main roster full time. I mean, I'd be very surprised if he didn't, to be honest. That'd be a massive swerve. He's obviously in the Intercontinental title ladder match at WrestleMania on Sunday, tomorrow. So this was kind of a farewell moment as well for Sami Zayn. He had that moment with the crowd after the match. They did the handshake and raised each other's arms. Nakamura was so keen to get out of the ring to give Sami Zayn his moment that after he raised Sami Zayn's hand, get the whole point of this guy. He's the guy. that he didn't really give Sami Zayn the opportunity to do it back to him, and he was like already halfway out of the ring, which just shows how much he wanted to just give Sami Zayn his moment with the crowd to say goodbye. It is an end of an era for NXT in a way. He was Mr. NXT for quite some time. Obviously, he had his injury, and Finn Balor's kind of become that now. So, but it is definitely an end of an era. Quite emotional, really, a little bit emotional.
Yeah. I mean, like before this takeover, well, I said like when he fought Neville for the title and finally won it, it was probably one of the best moments NXT had.
Absolutely.
Because we've obviously seen how he's progressed from the El Generico character to what he's become, and probably one of the biggest. Well, it should be one of the biggest baby faces if the WWE lets him, which they won't. But
well, of course, he has now got his biggest challenge ahead of him, the main roster, and
Vinnie Mac.
Vinnie Mac, yeah, and NXT guys do have a more miss than hit record at the moment. However, if anybody was gonna do well in a kind of Kevin Owens way, although I think Kevin Owens should be a lot higher than he is already, I'd put money on it being Sami Zayn to be able to follow.
I hope so.
Absolutely, I hope so too. But yeah, just fantastic match. Watch it if you haven't. I can't imagine why you'd be listening to this not watching it. But yeah, just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's a picture Triple H tweeted out of Vince watching this match, and he must have had his hands in his eyes, or his eyes in his hands every time Nakamura kicked Sami Zayn in the head.
Yeah, he must have had a little bit of a heart attack every time. Well, that's what you get when you hire the King of Strong Style. He's gonna.
Yeah.
But in fairness, Sami Zayn was giving it just as good
yes.
back. There was a shot I noticed earlier when we were watching it with they were both lying down on the outside. It was just before Sami Zayn's through the ropes DDT, I believe. I might be wrong. And you could see just a handprint on Nakamura's chest. So he was dishing it out. He was getting it too.
Yeah, because Nakamura got busted in the nose.
Yeah, he got busted up in the nose. Not the first time we'd see blood in this pay-per-view. Moving on to the women's title. NXT women's title. Bayley versus Asuka. Like we alluded to earlier, this match did have a very hard task of following up Nakamura, Sami Zayn. Any match would have done. Hence why we were talking about a reshuffle maybe earlier. I admitted I clocked out for this match. I didn't want to, but I did kind of clock out for this match. I was exhausted as a fan from watching Nakamura, and luckily not everyone in the arena was like that, but it was noticeably.
Now after the Nakamura match, I was so hyped from it but like obviously Bayley's another favourite of mine, so I gave her props.
Yeah, Bayley, she got a decent reaction. She got all the chants we had in NXT London. I'm glad those are still around. Those are some fun chants. But everyone was pretty much in agreement that Bayley was going to drop the title to Asuka in this time. Whether she's going to go onto the main roster soon, or if she's going to stick around or not, that's the bit everyone's debating. I personally think she's going to stick around for at least one rematch. And the reason I say that is because I think the main roster would just get a little bit too cluttered too quickly. And they've only just started figuring out how to book the 3 NXT girls who went up last summer.
Mm-hmm.
So if they had another one, they'd probably just drop the ball again. But she's obviously going to go up soon. And hopefully she'll have a great time when she's there. So like I say, we thought she was going to drop the title. I just didn't expect her to drop it in the way that she did. I didn't expect her just to get knocked out at all. And I mean, you can attest to this. I just sat there stunned, didn't I? I didn't know what was. Well, I knew what was going on, obviously, but I didn't know how to react. I was like, "What?"
Yeah, I think everyone's saying now that it's the same thing that happened at UFC recently with Holly Holm and Misha Tate. Basically, Misha Tate choked Holly Holm out. Holly Holm obviously beat Ronda Rousey, so she was considered the best.
Yeah.
Misha Tate choked her out and literally unconscious, and this was the exact same finish of that. So that had some. I'm guessing that's something to do with
I
it.
hadn't considered that, actually. That's probably very true. When it happened, the immediate reaction from the fans was boo. They weren't really happy about it for the match to end that way. So there was a big boo. I don't know how that it came across. I didn't watch that back this morning. I had to focus on Nakamura. But thankfully, because Asuka is obviously still a babyface, after the initial shock, she got the cheers too.
Yeah, the crowd didn't heal on her. They gave her the respect.
Exactly. Yeah, they stuck with her. It was a good match. It's just that I couldn't. I was drained at this point. I was drained. So I will watch it back again, and hopefully I'll be able to enjoy it more than I did the first time. And it sounds like I'm crapping on it a little bit, but I'm not, honestly.
No, it was decent match, really decent. Obviously, once again, the NXT women puts on a good show like they always do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Follow that, girls at Mania.
Yeah, follow that indeed. I mean, thankfully they've got the triple threat of Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, and Charlotte. So
they better give them time for that.
They'll give them time.
They better. But
so if anyone can follow it, it will be those three women. If it was the Total Divas versus Team Bad and Blonde, like we're getting on the pre-show, then obviously that wouldn't be so good. But it might be the first time actually that a Divas match on the main roster outshines the NXT. The potential's there to do that, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, if that rumor going around of the women's title coming back Sunday.
Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't look like the pictures we've seen. If you haven't seen the pictures, it's basically the WWE World Heavyweight title, but with white leather, red background instead of black, and it's instead of saying heavyweight champion, it says women's champion. I don't like it. It's the men's title, which is a bit weird. I want them to have their own title design. I just don't want them to have a butterfly. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, I think this is another UFC influence again because all their belts are just the same design, even for the women. So I don't know if that's actually true. That's just me making assumptions. But by the end of the day, I'm glad if that is true, they're getting rid of the butterfly belt. I'm so happy about that. And yeah.
They should never have got rid of the old women's design. It's as simple as that.
Yes.
Yeah, as simple as that. Moving on to the actual main event that wasn't the main event. It's Samoa Joe versus Finn Balor, round 2. Dan and I, obviously, were at NXT London. So we're probably one of the few people who got to see both NXT pay-per-view main events back to back. Samoa Joe gets busted open within 30 seconds of this match. And it's pretty bad. It's just under his eye from what I can tell. And the blood is pouring. And in obviously new WWE, the referees try and clean up for him. And the fans did not like that one bit.
Yeah, I mean, the first 3 minutes were really good. And obviously, both women's and this match going after Nakamura, it was going to be hard. 3 minutes into it, it looked like it was going to be a bloody show stealer. But then, obviously, with Joe getting cut, they had to stop it every minute or so to cover the blood.
Yeah, very stop-start. It did, unfortunately, affect the match.
And it killed the momentum of it.
It did. From my angle, or our angle, rather, I couldn't actually see how bad his blood was, how bad the cut was, or where it was, coming from. And I imagine that was the same for the majority of the crowd. Because we got, they were not happy about it. We got PG sucks, fuck PG, let Joe bleed, let them fight. Having watched it back, they were probably right to try and clean it up. However, the fact that they tried, I love the fact that Samoa Joe stayed in character, like trying to get the referee away from him. Like he got his own towel initially and just started wiping up, and the ref tried to do it for him. So he stayed in character, which I love. But at the same time, because they tried to clean it up so many times, it did stop the flow of the match. A couple of brutal spots. Finn Balor getting launched over the barricade into a security guy. That was pretty fun. The dive to the outside where they smashed into the barricade and just took out half the front row. That was pretty good as well. Just some of the hits again. And we talk about Nakamura being King of Strong Style. These guys were hitting each other pretty hard as well at points. A good match, but again, I was struggling at this point. Nakamura took it at me. I'm not going to lie. A good match. Another, and to be honest, I said for Asuka Bailey, I was surprised about the finish. I was kind of surprised about this finish as well. Samoa Joe's got the submission in, gets rolled back.
Yeah, it's the WrestleMania 8 spot from Bret Hart and Piper, and the Austin Bret match from Survivor Series 96.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised by that. Because I was thought that Joe would win the title and Balor would move up to the main roster. But,
well, that's the thing, of course. The rumors still, obviously, it's going to happen at some point. Bullet Club or Balor Club. When was it going to debut? I didn't think it was going to debut last night. Kind of wanted it to, in a way, but we were kind of looking for a closing chapter to move on to it opening, I suppose. Finn keeping the title and beating Joe again. When's that going to come in? We're not quite sure. I'm not complaining about that. It'll be awesome when it does happen. But then, of course, Samoa Joe's rumored to be moving up to the main roster as well. So maybe he's going up. Finn's staying down. Maybe Finn will turn heel soon into, the Bullet Club angle. Maybe he'll go against, I don't know, maybe he'll go against Apollo Crews again or something. A baby face.
Nakamura.
It could, yeah, maybe Nakamura.
And then next.
Hideo Itami's back soon as well.
Yeah.
So that would work as well. And then we can have a Finn Balor heel run with Bullet Club for a while. Joe can move up to the main roster. Either way it goes down, it's going to be awesome. Just a bit of a surprise, quick ending, almost. But it was a good pay-per-view. Had a great time.
I've consider this one of the best takeovers that they've done. Even the one in London, which I was live there for, this was just on another level. If they just had Nakamura and Zayn and every other match was just bad, I probably would still consider this the best one ever because that match was just on another planet. It was just phenomenal from every. So even before going into this, I knew it was going to be one of the best shows of the weekend, and it definitely exceeded all my expectations for just this weekend. Now, obviously, we'll go to the WrestleMania and watch a man get booed out of the building that no one wants win the title.
It's certainly going to be a hard show to follow, but we've been in this situation before. NXT has a pay-per-view close to the main event, or the main roster pay-per-view, and they struggle to follow. That said, I think there are opportunities for WWE to do right. It just depends on how they're booking it. For example, a Roman Reigns heel turn could save the main event from it would give the correct boos, shall we say, rather than just fuck off boos. Shane McMahon, The Undertaker could be great. We'll see. Brock Lesnar, Dean Ambrose could be great. We'll see. Women's title could be great. Hopefully it will be. Andre the Giant Battle Royal. That's obviously going to be the show stealer right there.
I thought it'd be the 10 women tag.
Oh, how silly of me to forget. That's the real main event.
With good old Eva Marie.
Oh my word! Let's not go into that.
Actually, one thing we did forget to mention is the appearance of a certain former TNA employee, Bobby Roode.
Yeah, absolutely. Bobby Roode was shown in the crowd, and it's another former TNA talent moving over to NXT. It looks like.
Oh, James Storm, you fool!
Why did James Storm go back? Well, I know why he went back. The money, obviously. WWE weren't offering him what TNA were, so I can't blame the guy. But at the same time, when you've got Samoa Joe being booked like a monster again for the first time in almost a decade, I know he lost, but he's still looking good, and he's still in the main event and things.
Mm-hmm.
Austin Aries has just arrived. He's looking good. Bobby Roode going over now.
Eric Young, maybe.
Potentially Eric Young at some point. I'm delighted that WWE have got past there. We won't have ex-TNA talents. And it's making for a better show. It's making for a much better show.
It will be when Adam Cole gets signed by the company, and then that's when the show starts there. Baby.
Awesome show. Watch it if you haven't. Watch Nakamura over and over again. Final thoughts, Dan. Anything we haven't said?
There's nothing else to say.
Truly excellent show. And that's how we're going to leave it. Watch this show if you haven't. Watch it again if you have. This is the true main event of the WrestleMania weekend. We're going to go enjoy the sun now in downtown Dallas. Next pay-per-view podcast review will be up, Monday-ish when we do WrestleMania. We'll see you then. Thanks very much. Have a good day.
Bye.